There's more to the Dreamworks layoff situation than meets the eye. We have exclusive information that we are going to talk about today on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, and I want to say good afternoon to you all. It's not often that we get to break news on this channel, and how are we going to break it? Well, we have exclusive information today. But before we get into all of that, first of all, I need to say that we are going to be talking about a studio that is doing well, but has gotten themselves into an unfortunate business situation. First of all, Kung Fu Panda 4 did pretty good at the box office. Not the numbers that it used to pull at the box office. It is the fourth movie in the Kung Fu Panda series. If you're following me on Twitter, you know that I am a fan of the marketing of this film, which of course incorporates Jack Black singing a classic Britney Spears song. You should go check it out. I can say Jack Black sings a Britney Spears song in order to market Kung Fu Panda 4, but you would know exactly what's in the video, but that doesn't mean that you should skip the video. It's actually a lot of fun, which is something that is generally missing from a lot of Disney movies right now. They tend to be a little overweighted, a little bit self-serious, and not in the way that a panda that does kung fu brings joy to everyone's hearts here. Have you seen Kung Fu Panda 4 yet?
I have not seen Kung Fu Panda 4. No, I believe I don't think I've seen 2 or 3 either, so I do apologize. But 1, I really did actually enjoy. And hey, it's still a popular attraction actually at Universal Studios Hollywood with that DreamWorks theater that they have right there. People thought that was going to be a modular thing, but people kept coming back to Kung Fu Panda. So
yeah, and I will say, good thing? They are definitely doing Kung Fu Panda at DreamWorks Land at Universal Studios Florida. Yes. I'm assuming they're probably going to do something out there at Universal Studios Hollywood. They ought to. It's a very popular character. I have not seen this film, but my in-laws did take my children to go see this film. Ooh. And you know what they did when they got back? They asked if they could watch all of the other Kung Fu Panda films again. So
that's what you want.
You know, I'm going to say from a box office standpoint, yes, this is a win, and I do think they made their money back on this film. I haven't seen a lot of Kung Fu Panda merchandise on the shelves, but my kids are in for it, if are up for it if any of that exists. We also have an update on Migration, which is not DreamWorks, but is also Universal Studios. Vash, you want to take that?
Yes, I will. Hear from, what is it, Luis Fernando on Twitter right here. Thank you, sir. Universal's new animation Migration, in the final stages of its staggered global rollout at the box office, grossed another $2.1 million on its 15th weekend overseas, dropping just 16% from last weekend thanks to Japan's soft 500,000 debut, reaching a 159.4 international cum over 80 markets. Added 126.5 million cum in the U.S. The animation with a $75 million price tag, that's its budget right there, not including marketing, hits a $285.9 million cum. It says right here they are eyeing a $290 billion to $295 billion global run. If that is the case, this is absolutely remarkable because you remember this film came out a little after Wish did, and Wish, unfortunately, a $200 million film, only grossed about $239 million at the box office, which is to say that this film, only having a budget of about $75 million, grossing $290 million at the box office, that's a, what is it? They did that with 36% of the budget of Wish and earned 20% more at the box office.
Right.
That's an amazing feat by Illumination here.
And I'll also point out, of course, that the way that the post-theatrical window is structured for Illumination and DreamWorks means that it's going to go to Netflix, probably Amazon Prime, and Peacock as well. Peacock being Universal's own streaming service. So they will make their money back on these films, and they'll make their money back in merchandise. I know that Trolls I think Trolls did well enough. I wasn't tracking the box office on Trolls, but it's yet another franchise that when Disney was firing on all cylinders, I might have said, "Oh well, DreamWorks is the studio that's a little edgier. Maybe they're not as safe for kids." But now they are the only port in the storm. DreamWorks and Illumination, and
Oh,
and other studios need to come in and fill this gap that Disney has abdicated.
absolutely, 100%. I mean, to have a migration earn, I think, 4 times its production budget in a very kind of softer animation market is quite stunning. And yeah, it's largely because Disney just hasn't showed up to the party, and DreamWorks and Illumination keeps superseding expectations, which is really unfortunate to get to the story where a lot of the DreamWorks staff is being let go.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that specifically here in just a moment. But I also want to bring out that the Wild Robot. We both just watched the trailer for the Wild Robot, and I got to say, I think that whoever put this trailer together did a fantastic job. First of all, it's got a great cast. Looks like it's going to be this is Chris Sanders, who did Lilo and Stitch and also How to Train Your Dragon, a project, sorry, a franchise that obviously Universal believes in on some level because they're building an entire theme park land out of it down there in
Yeah.
Florida at Epic Universe. But the thing that we really need to talk about is, of course, the layoff situation. There was a story out of Cartoon Brew that said that DreamWorks is going to be laying off employees, but not really laying off employees. It was just going to be the expiration of existing contracts, allowing attrition to happen, and not replacing workers that have left for one reason or another. That happens at the end of a project. There is more to that situation, and we've had a source reach out. This is a source that we trust, and a source that we are very pleased to have. So there were rumors going around. There's been a lot of conversation about outsourcing in the industry right now. Sony, for instance, outsources almost entire projects. They do have their own studios. They, in fact, have a Vancouver studio. And one of DreamWorks' upcoming projects was going to be outsourcing a large portion of their staff. 30% of the work on an upcoming DreamWorks project was going to be outsourced to Sony Animation. I'm going to say that's probably because it would have been cheaper instead of their California offices. Well, something has happened within DreamWorks that they have said they are not going to be doing any more outsourcing, but it is too late to change that decision. Contracts have already been signed. Too much is set in stone at this point that they cannot reverse that decision. So they've reversed that decision, and moving forward, all features are going to be done in-house at DreamWorks. I'm not saying this can't reverse. This is me editorializing right here when I say I'm not saying that the decision can't be reversed at some point, but at this point they are planning on pulling everything in-house. What this means that in the short term, the damage is done, and they cannot fix this in the short term. And this next feature will have 30% outsourcing on it, and they will, because of that, have to adapt to having less staff in their own offices because they cannot. You can't just pay to have people sitting around because there will obviously be less work. This is where we have to get vague because we don't want to out anybody, and there are NDAs and things that cannot be shared. I'll say this. The feature that was scheduled next after the outsourced film has been canceled, and there is nothing ready to take its place. And this has left a huge gap in production. So putting those two things together, there is a humongous gap at DreamWorks where no work needs to be done, no work can be done, and so they don't need any staff. Well, they need much lower staff in the meantime. So we're talking sometime next year, they will be staffing up again. So this essentially leaves DreamWorks in a very bad position. So there is not enough work to sustain a workforce, and you'll have to forgive us for not mentioning the productions here. Now, go ahead.
No, well, this whole thing about animation, not these animation staffs not having anything to do is it's been a kind of a contentious issue. ever since. I mean, I remember right before the Renaissance era, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg, interestingly, who would head up DreamWorks, right? Or at least assist in that. Talked about how, should we go into production on Basil Baker Street, which became Great Mouse Detective. It's like, well, we have all these people that we have on staff. We might as well pay them to do something. We need something in production. And so it looks like this was that same dichotomy, but under different circumstances, of course. The Cartoon Brew article said that many departments are being cut in half, and the creative staff on features could be reduced by as much as, if not more than, 40 to 50%. Now, I don't want to question necessarily Cartoon Brew's reporting, but Jonas, in your opinion, is that number indicative or accurate?
I would say that with all rumors, you need to, including this one, if I'm not emphasizing this enough, you need to take them all with a grain of salt. And I trust our source. I'll say that as well. Gotcha. They've been on the money in the past, and I trust. Also, this is a person that has called balls and strikes pro and against the institutions that they have worked with here. That being said, I do think that DreamWorks has a good future if they can weather this storm. And this is also a circumstance that does happen from time to time, because if you can have staff that is just always there, and with Pixar, obviously they have an issue at Pixar right now where they are saying that as certain projects are coming to an end, Win or Lose comes to mind, or Inside Out 2 come to mind. As those are coming to an end, they're going to be letting people go. It appears that is not exactly what's going on here with DreamWorks. This sounds like, unfortunately, poor planning on part of senior management and perhaps marketing as well. We won't get too much into that. I think that DreamWorks right now is trying to make safe bets, and unfortunately, you can't just pay hundreds of millions of dollars in order to make and market a film, and not have it be something that you believe, one, that you believe in, and two, that you also need it to make money at the box office. And I think even as we're looking at Kung Fu Panda 4, which a lot of people are telling me, it's the same level of quality that you would expect from a Kung Fu Panda film. I say that with all the weight of, yes, it needs to entertain children. It needs to be a good time, but it's probably not going to change the world. You come into these things with eyes all the way open.
You do. I'll say this. I mean, DreamWorks has been putting out some amazing stuff
yes,
lately.
They have.
Wild Robot looks phenomenal. I mean, the rendering on that just looks so good. The animation looks incredible. It reminds me of like a True Life Adventures, National Geographic meets Wall-E.
Yeah,
it looks awesome.
Yeah. Oh,
so good.
I think we just had the same thought there. Yeah, I think so. And it's directed by Chris Sanders, and from everything I'm hearing about the Wild Robot, I hear that it's going to be a great film. Now, that being said, a lot can change between the early parts of, you can hear a room. The early rumors for The Force Awakens was that it started with Luke's severed hand holding a lightsaber, and that was true at the time. But by the time the movie came out, obviously that was not the case. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the situation. We appreciate our sources, and we don't often do exclusives here on the channel. I didn't have a chance to talk to my compatriot WDW Pro about this or this source. So if you want to leave a comment here and leave a like if you believe that this conversation was helpful, if you want to leave a comment to help us understand how you are all perceiving this situation at DreamWorks, the next best hope for animation in the United States here, and I'll say the world here, because believe it or not, American animation, I think we've still got some fuel left in the tank, even though Studio Ghibli is still over there doing amazing work. It's not a competition, except that it is a competition when it comes to dollars and cents. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And of course, our thoughts go out to all of the people who are affected by this poor business planning over there at DreamWorks. Best of luck to them in these trying times. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.